Welcome back to another Sonic Frontiers modding tutorial. Last time we went over how to replace sound files, specifically geared towards sound effects. Today I want to go over how to replace boss and mini-boss music. As per usual, we'll need some tools to be able to do this. First and most important one being the boss music replacer made by Cool Guy TC on Game Banana. I'll have the link for this and all the tools we'll be using today in the description below. So scroll down here and click the download link. Next, we'll be needing the Eternity audio tool. And if you watched my last tutorial, you should already have the Foobar 2000 audio player and also the component file to go with it. I won't be going over how to install these today, so if you want to know how to do that, you can watch my previous video. I'll have the link here. Anyways, let's get to it. All right, so now that we have our tools, we're going to need to locate the sound files that we want to replace. Here I am in the Sonic Frontiers folder. We're going to go into Image and go all the way to Sound. I've recently gotten a request to replace the Squid mini-boss music, so I'm going to be doing that today. If you look in the S's, we're not going to find a Squid folder here, and that's because the Squid folder is actually this one named Flyer. So what we're going to want to do is copy that folder, or whatever folder you're using, to a different place on your desktop. Here I have a folder already made specifically for this, so I'm going to drag, drop, copy it over. If you're drag drop copying, make sure that it says copy next to your cursor and not move, because we don't want to move anything out of this directory here. You can go ahead and minimize that. Now you can go into the folder that you just copied over, and you'll see an ACB, an AWB, and another ACB file. Indicated by the beginning of these names, the BGM means that this is the background music, and the SE means this is for sound effects. Since we're going over the background music today, we'll just be focusing on these two files. So we want to open this up so we can see and hear the sound files that we're going to be replacing. The way we'll do that is by opening up Foobar, and we're going to want to drag drop this AWB file right into Foobar. Now we can see all the files here, and we can start listening to them. Something interesting you might notice about this is that instead of having one solid audio file for the background music, it's split up into 7 different segments. And also what's interesting about this is that they seamlessly play into each other. So if I were to play the end of this one here, you'll hear how those seamlessly go into each other. And they keep doing that. So if we were to listen to the first one and go front to back on all of them, it would sound like one track. And another thing to note is they have a specific place in the boss battles. So each one of these is triggered by an event that happens during the battle. This one, it's the introduction when you first encounter Squid. This is the pursuit, the first round of attacks, a transition going into the next round of pursuits, more attack, and then finally the finisher. So we're going to want to make 7 different files like this that seamlessly go into each other, and we're going to want to make them roughly around the same lengths as these as well. I'm going to go to my file that I have. You can see here that this file is 13 minutes long, so we're going to be chopping that up, making 7 different things, and they're all going to be around these lengths here. Now, a way we can do that is by opening it up into an audio editing program. Something like Audacity would work just fine. You could just load it on in here and start cutting it up and doing what you will with it. I like to use Pro Tools. I've used it for a long time, so I just prefer it at this point, but any audio editor would work just fine. So you can see here, I've already done the work. I've split this up into 7 different segments. And one thing to note when you are doing this is that not only do you want it to seamlessly go into the next track, but you want it to loop seamlessly as well. By that, I mean, this clip is going to play, and when it's done, it's going to start over again. So you want it to seamlessly loop. And you can see here at the end of my clip, I have a fade out, and I also have a fade in at the beginning of the clip. So what that does is make it so that each time it starts over, there's no pops or clicks or any kind of artifacts. So you'll want to be doing that as well when you make these cuts. So once you have that, you'll want to make sure that you export them as 48 kilohertz and 16-bit. So 48,000 hertz, 16-bit. In Audacity, you'll be able to see that in the bottom left. It'll say 48,000 hertz. Now here are all mine. I have 7 files. You'll see I have them named 0 through 6, and you'll see why in just a second here. We'll want to copy these over to our flyer folder, paste them in there, and then we're going to add these to our ACB file. So we're going to want to open up our ACB by going into our Eternity Audio tool that we downloaded earlier. So you click the EXE, open that up, File, Open, navigate to your ACB file. It's going to ask you if you want to open with an internal AWB or an external AWB. Now in our case, we have an external AWB file, so we're going to click External. And you'll see these files pop up. Now, depending on which version of Eternity Audio Tool you have, it's going to say the track name or the track ID. In my case, it's the track name. It's 1 through 7. And track ID, it would start at 0. Despite what it says, you're going to want to name your tracks here starting at 0. So this is track 1, but its track ID is track 0. This is track 2, its track ID is track 1. So you're going to want to just name these their track ID. So I have that. So now we can start replacing them. We'll click track 1. We'll click replace. And we'll select the one we want to replace it with, which is 0. It's going to ask you if you want to loop it. You're going to want to say don't loop. And you're going to make sure that this is unchecked. So we want that unchecked and click don't loop. File imported. And we're just going to do this on all of them. Okay, so those are all replaced now. Now we can just click File Save. Close out of that. And you'll see here that our ACB and our AWB now have an updated time. Now comes the easiest part of the whole thing. So we're gonna go to our Frontiers Boss music replacement application that was made by Cool Guy TC. This makes the whole process much, much easier. Before this, you would have had to load the original ACB file and this AWB file into a hex editor and copy stuff from the AWB into the ACB, and it was just a really tedious process. This does all of that under the hood, so you don't have to do it at all. What you got to do now is just drag this AWB right on top of the EXE, and this window will pop up. It's going to ask you for your Sonic Frontiers directory, so we are going to go to that now. You can just go up here in the address bar, right-click, click Copy Address as Text, go to this window, Control-V, Enter. And now it's going to tell you all the stuff it just did. If it was successful, it will say successfully wrote. And if there's any errors, it's going to let you know. So cool, that is successful. We can close out of that. And now that's pretty much it. We can delete these. And now we can make a mod of this and test out that it works. So we'll go to our Hedge Mod Manager, click Add Mod, make one. Let's just name this Mini Boss Music. It's going to pull up a folder, raw, and we'll make a sound folder. If you watched my last tutorial, you'll know why we're doing it like this. We'll drag drop this flyer folder into the sound folder. Now we can close that. We can go back to our Hedge Mod Manager, refresh, scroll down till we see our mod. We'll put this somewhere in an appropriate order. If you have any other sound mods, I would suggest putting this one at the top of those, or just disable those other ones for now and use this one just to make sure that it works. So anyways, let's go check this in game. Okay, so here we are in our game. We're gonna test to make sure the Squid music works. Alright, so it looks like our Squid boss music was successfully replaced. If you've been following along in this tutorial, then hopefully you've successfully replaced your boss or mini boss music. If not and you have some problems or any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to help. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give the video a like and consider subscribing. It really helps me know if people are finding these videos useful and if I should keep making them. If there's any other tutorials you'd like to see in the future, please let me know. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.